struggling to market to your ideal clientele with old branding that worked for you years ago? This branding gap is playing a huge role in your current client conversion rate, and you may not even know it. We've heard it all before. My website doesn't matter that much, or I'll get to it eventually, but years go by and yet you're still asking the same question. Why am I still working the same weddings at the same price point with no growth? So what does your current brand and website say about you? Does your copy actually captivate your ideal clientele, or are they quickly closing your site and connecting with someone else? It's time to give your brand some pampering at the Creative Cabana, your all-inclusive strategy and design studio. With over a decade of experience as wedding vendors, their full-service team knows exactly how powerful great branding can be for your business growth. Whether you need a complete brand refresh or just a touch-up with services like website design, brand identity, or copywriting, they've got you covered. And for filmmakers out there, they also specialize in logo animations so that your film can feel that much more elevated. This is something I just invested in, and it's brought an entirely new look to my films. So you poured your heart and soul into your business. Now it's time for a brand that connects with your customers on every level. Visit their website today and use our discount code WGY300 for $300 off your first project at creativecabana.co. Welcome to the We Got You podcast, a network curated for wedding photographers and filmmakers that dives deep into the strategies and tactics to transitioning a side hustle in the wedding industry into a full-time, thriving career. We're your hosts, luxury wedding filmmaker Emma K. Films and luxury destination wedding photographer Hannah Brook Photography. It wasn't too long ago that we picked up our cameras for the first time, having absolutely no idea where it would lead us. Years later, we're traveling the globe for beautiful destination weddings, build our dream lifestyles, and run multi-six-figure careers. It didn't happen overnight and it wasn't easy, but it is attainable and so worth it. And we're ready to teach you our strategies. Covering a variety of topics from both our firsthand experiences and reputable guest speakers' insights crucial for business growth, we're exploring the art of marketing within your niche, discussing effective ways to attract and retain clients, leverage social media, and build a strong online presence, and so much more. We're not shying away from talking through the challenges of the wedding industry and offering realistic solutions to navigate them successfully. We emphasize the importance of networking, establishing meaningful relationships with clients, and continuously honing one's craft to stand out in a competitive market. This is the We Got You podcast. Hello, We Got You podcast. Welcome to another episode. Hannah and I today are stoked to get to talk to you about how to build out a custom pricing guide. We're kind of following this little mini series revolving around pricing and structures and how you present it and what a pricing guide looks like. The last 2 weeks, we've talked about customizing packages that would sell, and we've talked about so much more regarding pricing. So obviously, this is a podcast and all of this is free education, but we want to be able to still give you some of our secret sauce and some of our knowledge that we have. And so we're really excited to dive into today and just really talk about some things that are really important about pricing guides. Again, there's so much more that Hannah and I could dive into when it comes to pricing, but podcasting is free. So if you ever want to dive into your pricing, you want to know, are you priced at the right price point, how your pricing guide looks, you're more than welcome to book a mentorship with us. You can head over to our website, reach out to Hannah and I to do that. We'd love to get to spend time and really dig into exactly what your pricing looks like, how you're presenting it to clients, how you're structuring it, knowing what goals you have to get into your market. But all that to say, we have so much knowledge in today's episode. We genuinely are giving away a lot of really valuable education. And so we're going to just kind of jump in and talk about some things that are really, really important for your pricing guide that you are sending to potential clients.
Yes. And like Emma said, we're not going to be able to go specifically into each and everybody's pricing guides. I wish we could. We do that in our coaching program, which has been super, super helpful. But more generically / what you should be looking for if you're growing your business and looking to, move what market you're in and everything. The first thing that is super, super important is making sure that your packages are customized. Your pricing guides are customized. And I don't mean this as in, oh, they've got my images, they have my copy, they have, my package on there. I mean this as in customized for each couple that you're sending out to, for every planner that you're sending it out to. You should not be sending out a generic pricing guide that's, okay, well, here's the link. I use this exact link for every single couple planner under the moon anyone reaches out to me. What you should be really doing is creating a customization on the pricing guide, which creates that like FOMO of like, oh, this is something special. Ooh, I need to book this person because I'm already getting something that nobody else gets. One way that Em and I both do that is especially on your cover page is we will put the couple's name on there or the planner's name, whoever is reaching out, having the location of the wedding, the date of the wedding day to really make it feel like they're opening up this document and already it's customized for them, for who they are. And they know that as I go through this guide, I'm going to have my needs met. And I know that they are creating and crafting this pricing package based off of my day. So again, you're making them feel like they can already trust you and they already feel like they're taken care of with literally just editing their names and customizing that cover page. We both use Canva. And so in Canva, what I will do is I have like my basically like investment guide. I'll make a copy of it. I will rename it to my couple's names. And then I will go in there and I will customize that package, that pricing guide. So what that'll look like is, doing the cover page, I'll customize the package so it fits what they're looking for, the add-ons, really making sure that this is exactly what my couple needs. And then from there, I'm downloading it and sending it out. And I do this for every single couple and planner that reaches out to me, making sure that they really feel like this is something that nobody else is getting. The second that they feel like they're one of 100, they're going to go find somebody who can give them that personalized experience.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't agree more. And whether you're sitting here today and you're charging $1,000 for a wedding package, like it doesn't matter. Show your clients that you care, especially if you want to jump price points. You need to make it feel personal for your clients to where they feel like, oh my goodness, like they have put the time and energy into this, which shows that they're going to put time and energy into my wedding day. So it genuinely goes a long way. So the next thing that we want to talk about is just the fact of this is a pricing guide and not a welcome guide. We have reviewed tons of pricing guides throughout our past few years of running the podcast and doing coaching calls and mentorships. And one of the biggest things that we see is people pouring way too much knowledge into their pricing guide. And it's incredibly overwhelming. Not only that, but no one wants to read through a long pricing guide. Like we've talked to countless planners in this industry and they're like, we want it to be like somewhere around like 8 to 10 pages. Like we're just genuinely just skipping to the pricing page. And granted, if you're getting to be able to sell directly to your couples, like your couples do want to read a little bit about you. They want to see the frequently asked questions. There's like a few really important things that they want to see. However, they don't also want to read through a novel and you don't want to give away too much information where it's like all of your surprises are right out the gate, right from the beginning. Like obviously you want to sell yourself and you want this pricing guide to be really effective and you want it to connect with your clients and be like, wow, like look at everything I'm getting, but you don't want to give away too much. And I think a really good example of this is like, I know some people like help write timelines. I think it's great to include that you're going to help them write a timeline in the pricing guide, whether that be in your package. It's like, hey, timeline consultations included, but don't give them a sample. Don't give them all this information. Again, like save that for a welcome guide once they book.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people forget that when you send the pricing guide, your couples have already seen your Instagram. They've seen those portfolio pieces. They see how you write your captions. They see how you love on your clients. They see more of who you are on your Instagram stories. And from there, they've gone to your website. So they've seen your website. They've seen the About Me page. They've seen your homepage. Like they've seen all these things already about you, where I think a lot of people try to fit everything from their favorite pieces of Instagram and every piece from their website and kind of like condense that all into a wedding or a pricing guide, when in all reality, they've likely already seen all of that, especially if they're serious about you and they're not price shopping. They most likely have already seen all of that about you. And so it's not necessarily necessary for the pricing guide. And you want to make sure that you're building that trust of, okay, I'm getting what I need. If you are sending them a pricing guide that has all this fluff, extra pages, they are subconsciously losing that because they're not able to just scroll through, see what they need, read what they need, even if they're like, oh, I didn't know I needed this. But finding those pieces and stuff throughout your pricing guide, if you're sending them something that's so long and they're like, oh, I've already seen this before, that kind of distances them from almost getting another foot in the door. Whereas if you are showing them exactly what they need, you're showing them more about who you are, you're showing them those reviews, you're showing them the packages, the add-ons, and it is very easy to find, easy to guide them through. They are, again, continuously building that trust.
Yeah. And too, like when you're reading through a pricing guide, it's like Yes, put a little bit about you. Yes, put a little bit about your philosophy or about your experience, right? But put a little bit. Don't write a novel. And this is something where people will add so many pages trying to like let you know every little detail. Here's all the steps in all the steps of my experience. And it's like, don't give that away.
Yeah.
Right? Like they already trust you enough to inquire with you and get this far. Like you don't need to like put everything out there to them. And so it's like, put some solid information where they can, here's a little paragraph about you, here's a little paragraph about your experience, but like keep it to a minimal because again, this is a pricing guide. And the point is like you want those key pages that do build credibility for you, right? But then you want to immediately like jump into pricing. Like that's what they want to see. And then get them on a call, right? Like this pricing guide isn't the only thing that is just selling for you. Obviously, every single detail matters and your branding matters, but also get them on a call so that way you can go through your pricing with them again.
Yeah. And honestly, another thing too that like we both talked about that was super important in a pricing guide is your like about me section, introduction section about who you are in your business. Reminder, again, they've seen your Instagram, they've seen your website, they know a good amount about you. So making sure that you're using this to the best of your ability and really sharing, what publications you've been in, what magazines have you been featured in, how long have you been doing this? I know some people like have been doing this over 10 years. That's a really good build of credibility. If you are an educator in the space, adding that in there. I think a lot of people will copy and paste from their website, and typically your website will be a little bit more have more depth and length and share a little bit more about you. But at the same time, your pricing guide, you're not looking for that. You're looking for the credibility. What have you been featured in?
Yep.
What have you done? What are you doing in this industry? More ways for people to be like, oh my gosh, another incredible thing. And really hype yourself up. Don't be shy, but really share those things that you have done and accomplished in this industry so that, again, they feel more trusting to be able to work with you and put their wedding day in your hands.
Yeah, this like really is a way for you like to hype yourself up and to like show yourself off. Honestly, like we're selling ourselves at this point. Like you want to have those key foundational things in writing again, like without being boastful or too confident. But it's like people don't really care that you love cats, right? People don't really care that you love Frank Sinatra. Like I don't want to read those things in a pricing guide about you. Like I want to know like what have you been published in? What have you been featured in? How many like have you won any awards? Maybe like different places that you like to shoot, like those types of things. And if you're sitting here today and you're like, I don't have any of those things, right? Like go get them. Like we've got episodes that talk about publications, that talk about like how to get featured. Like even if they're small features, a small feature is better than nothing, right? Like we all have to start somewhere. Or like networking, like thinking about your education, like what Hannah said, like it's so important to include like any of those things. And I do think there is like this difference of like, I know like a lot of friends, for example, are like, well, like, I have a couple who's like shoots at Disney all the time. And their work is insane. Like their work's so beautiful. They shoot at Disney all the time, right? Like that sounds like a personal fact to be like, I'm a huge Disney fan. But being that a lot of their clientele films at Disney, it is important for them to say in their pricing guide. So there is a difference between something like that and something like, I'm a cat lover and I love coffee and I love to travel. Do you? Like and so I think like really finding those personal elements that really are to benefit for your client to read about and gutting out the fluff. If you want to put fluff in your website and write those things, which again, I still don't agree with, then by all means, go right ahead. But in your pricing guide, this is really that page where it's like, hey, these are my accomplishments. These are the things that I've done. If you're struggling to feel like you've accomplished anything, like I really want you to dig in and think, what can I add to this? What can I work towards adding to this? Because it is so helpful and builds so much credibility when people are able to see features, publications, what you teach on, where you've shot, what you've done, any awards. It's goes way further than you think.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like you can even think about it like if your dream couple is reading through your pricing guide, what are things they're going to be taking notes on? Like if they are getting married in Disneyland or something, they're going to be jotting down like, okay, they love Disney, like they understand this, they're in that world. If I'm going to go elope in Yosemite, I'm going to be taking notes on the photographer who says that they've been to 26 national parks or XYZ, like those are things that are very important that build that reputation, credibility with your potential client. So think of your dream client. What things are they going to be? Ooh, okay, that's That's pretty cool. Okay, that's important when they're reading through your pricing guide. And so again, like destination elopements, you can share like national parks, traveling, XYZ that you've been doing, luxury weddings, sharing locations that you've been to, destinations, venues, I don't know, publications, stuff like that, that really just build that with your couples.
Are you tired of taking on the entire editing workload yourself? Are you tired of staring at a screen for days on end, feeling burnt out and creatively exhausted? Maybe you've been searching for an editing company for months now, but you can't seem to find one that can truly mimic the high-end quality of films you're looking for to deliver to your clients. If this sounds like you, we couldn't be more excited to introduce to you our friends at Wonderlust Videos. Wonderlust Videos is a post-production service for wedding filmmakers with over 10 years of experience and has served over 700 clients to date. Their full team specializes in seamless and high-quality editing for wedding filmmakers who need to take the workload off their shoulders and trust someone to create a high-end edit. As you know, we're incredibly picky about the partners we work with and the tools and resources we recommend to other photographers and filmmakers. With that being said, I myself, Emma, have gone through the process firsthand to use Wonderlust Videos myself and vet their entire process so that I could recommend them to you today with confidence. Wonderlust Videos can edit your highlight films, social media teasers, doc edits, and so much more. Their team edits on Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, so it's time to get the help you need and start outsourcing today. You can start with Wonderlust Videos right now at wonderlust-videos.com and use our code WGY10 for 10% off your first project. Does your current client delivery system feel unexciting, limiting, and boring? Maybe you're still using good old Google Drive or Dropbox to deliver your clients' wedding films. If the answer to these is yes, it's time to level up your video delivery experience with VidFlow. VidFlow is a pay-per-use online platform that allows you to deliver fully branded websites for each of your clients. While being incredibly affordable, VidFlow is accessible on mobile, desktop, and smart TVs with included long-term hosting so that your clients can truly enjoy the entire experience when receiving their wedding films. When I first found VidFlow, it was such an easy switch that truly benefited my business substantially. With so many incredible features and options for customization and personalization, VidFlow continues to wow my clients time and time again. You can find VidFlow on Instagram or visit their website at vidflow.co. Use our code WGY20 for 20% off a yearly premium membership and level up your client experience today with VidFlow.
And another really good way to add credibility throughout your pricing guide is your reviews and sharing like what past clients have said about you. And so sharing those testimonials, I would say you need to have some testimonials in your pricing guide, but you also don't want to have too many because again, remember, you're wanting to get this information to your couples and you want it to be them easily guided through and you don't want them to feel like they're waiting 100 hours to finally get to that one page that has what they're looking for, but that they're learning about you as they're sifting through this pricing guide. So in my pricing guide, I know I have two different testimonials. I have one before my pricing and I have one that comes in after my pricing. They're separated by a couple pages. So it gives a little bit of a buffer, but they are sprinkled in there where there are two very important, my favorite reviews that I've ever gotten that say a lot about how I work on a wedding day. And I also think it's something that people don't really think about is picking the reviews you have to be very intentional on what reviews you pick. And all reviews are amazing when people give you 5 stars and they like love on you, but finding those reviews that almost like answer or I guess help a pain point of a potential client before that potential client even realizes that could be a pain point. You know, like I know with my couples, I want to make them as comfortable as possible. I want them to feel like they have delegated this to professionals who know what they're doing on a wedding day. And so I have picked reviews that share about how easy it was to work with me, how they never had to check in on me, how I was ready to go, how I was always on it. And I know that my potential clients are going to be like, oh shoot, like I didn't even realize that was something that I was stressed about, but like it's answered already. And so being very intentional what you're picking for those reviews as well in your pricing guide.
Yeah, and picking reviews that do really talk about your experience as opposed to just your work. Like they've already reached out and they've already inquired with you because they love your work. So they want to know, like they want to feel solidified and being like, okay, I really can trust them in the experience that they're going to give me on the wedding day. And putting one before your pricing is great because it like kind of like amps them up to like, okay, now I'm going to see a number, but I've just built that credibility of like, here's my experience with past clients. And then putting one after, maybe after like your add-ons or your frequently asked questions to kind of close out your pricing guide a little bit where it's like, okay, and like here's just reassuring me that this experience is so worth it because here's what past people have said is just like so vital. I honestly couldn't agree more. Another thing I think that's really important that we should touch on is like frequently asked questions and add-ons. I think we've seen a lot of different ways that people have done this. Some people have frequently asked questions, some people don't. I know like in my pricing guide specifically, I don't have frequently asked questions. I like answer a little bit of like how to move forward in like the last page that I have in there, but I know a lot of people that have frequently asked questions and there's not a right or wrong to include them or to not include them. Like if you feel like your package might be a little bit confusing or there's just some things that you want to clear up or that you just want to make them known, again, revisiting this is not a welcome guide, this is a pricing guide, do not write novels for your frequently asked questions is so important. But even of just like, what are the next steps? What is it like to book? What else do you put for frequently asked questions? I'm like drawing a blank.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's a good question. I think when I was first starting, I always had in there like, do you give out raw photos? Because I think with a lower price point, a lot of people ask that, but I've noticed that a lot of people in the higher price point don't ask that because they know. And so depending on where your price point is at, you might have different questions, but like, that raw photos, is travel included? Gosh, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember what's on my pricing guide.
I know that everyone out there, you're confident about what's on your frequently asked questions. But again, think like, is it necessary? Is it needed?
Yes.
Does your client need to know this information to book? Maybe with your add-ons, and I think this is a good point too, with your add-ons page, right? This is another page where I see people will write paragraphs of what things are. Don't write out paragraphs of every single add-on unless it's something that's super confusing and you've got pages to. Like, I don't need to see 3 pages of add-ons. Let me get on a call and ask you as a client, maybe I've got some more information that I want to walk you through or that they have questions about, right? Like, be clear and concise, right? Like for my like great example here, like I have a documentary ceremony film that you can get, right? On my add-ons page, it's genuinely listed out in bullets and it says filmed on 4 camera angles, professional coloring and audio, entire ceremony from start to finish. Boom, easy, done. 3 bullet points. I think that's it. But it's like super clear, super concise. If my clients have questions, I can walk them through that, but I don't need to write out this whole paragraph for what my ceremony film is. I know some people too, maybe they just sell a base package and then they have a separate little PDF that does walk through their add-ons on a deeper level, but I think it is really important to keep them all in one and to just be as clear and concise as you can. If there's something that needs to be cleared up, if there's like FOMO edit or like a montage edit, right? Like this is video talking, but like, okay, my clients probably are like, what is that? That could be a great one to ask in your frequently asked questions. Like, what is the difference between a highlight film and a montage video, right? Like kind of clearing up some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly, like I have an engagement session as an add-on, and I know some people have like a boudoir session as an add-on. And I feel like a lot of people probably right now are like, okay, but I want to explain like it's this many hours, locations, travel fees, stuff like that. I just have on my add-ons for my engagement session 2-hour engagement session with the price. Like that's all it is. I don't have to write a little bio for it because again, when they're inquiring about that or want to add that on, typically we're talking about that over the phone and they're like, yeah, we're thinking about adding on the engagement session. Then after that, I'm explaining to them and we're going into depth what that can look like and what their vision is and kind of still making sure that is curated for what they would need instead of just that generalized what it looks like for anybody. I also think that like everybody can probably agree with me here, but with an add-on page, if you have like 6 add-ons, 7, 8, 9, 10 add-ons, and they all have a like paragraph or short snippet under it, I'm honestly not going to read it. And an add-on page is really great way to like upsell your packages, to like add a little bit more, make some more money, really like give a fuller wedding weekend experience and everything. And if they're not even reading it, how are you going to upsell? What is the whole point of the add-on page at that point? So like you want to make sure that they're even reading it to start with. So yeah, being very intentional on how you're incorporating that into your pricing package.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't agree more. The last thing I think that's important to just say and mention is sharing your next steps. You want to be able to give away for your clients to know, what does it look like moving forward? Don't give away your entire experience. I'm going to send you a booking gift. And then all this stuff. Like, no, genuinely like there's a signed contract and a 25% retainer in order to reserve your date. That's it.
Absolutely.
right? Like in an email where I send my pricing guide, like if it's like my couple inquiring, like I give them a deadline of like how long I'm going to hold their date for, but like be concise about communicating what does it look like to move forward.
Yeah. And it's like, this is again where you're answering those questions before they even ask them, but you're not giving them too much where you can still over deliver or under promise, over deliver. Yeah, that's the phrase. I always mix those two words up. Oh, we got it today. But you still want to be able to like over deliver. And like Emma was saying, like you want to be able to send them over like a welcome, booking gift that's a surprise to you. Because if they know that's the next step, they're going to be expecting it, which loses all sense of over delivery when it comes to your experience that you're having with your couples. So again, throughout this whole thing, I hope that like one of the big things you guys have like picked up on is the intentionality and the intentionality behind your pricing guide and really using this to max it out to the best of your ability, because again, this is another point of contact that you're having with your couples besides your Instagram, besides your website. Now you're being able to reach out to them and send them one more thing that can be super on brand, that can really represent who you are in your business. And you want to make sure that accurately reflects who you are and that it is built in a way that they're reading it and actually like going through it and taking notes, even if those are mental notes, and really investing their time into it. So hopefully that's something that you guys have been able to get from this episode. We've been so excited to be able to just chat about pricing in the last 2 weeks. And then today it's been, I feel like something that so many people always ask us about. And so we're really excited to be able to put out this, like Emma said early, this like quote unquote mini series. But if you guys have any questions, our DMs are always open, as well as the Facebook group. And we would love to chat more with you guys. But we will see you guys next week on the We Got You podcast. Thanks for listening to another episode of the We Got You podcast. We would absolutely love it if you could take an extra minute to leave us a review and let us know what you think. DM us a screenshot of it and we'll send you a coffee on us. If you want access to an exclusive community, rad freebies, giveaways, and wedding referrals, then join our Facebook group today. Also, if you aren't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure that you're following along on Instagram at WeGotYou_podcast to stay up to date. We'll see you next week on the We Got You podcast.